Hi, it's Kongin, and today we're going to talk about a little bit something spooky, something paranormal. Now back then, I used to be a curious kid, 16, 17, bored, nothing to do, wanted to experience some thrills in life. So one night, me and 9 other friends, now I'm not going to name all of them, there's just 3 to this story. We got Ben, we got Daniel, and we got Jane. Now, that night, around 2 to 3 a.m, we were thinking, there's so many of us, but we don't know what to do, right? Places were closed, we just ate, we had really nowhere to go. So one of us had the bright idea. He said, hey, what if we go and explore, a little creepy place? Make things fun. We've never done that before. All of us were game, and we started looking for places. Now, the place we went to is this little, if I remember correctly, HDB flats. They are abandoned. They're locked up, the stairs are gated up and everything, and there's nothing around. These flats are isolated. Nothing but grass around, right? So we went over to the flat and just, okay, let's start our prayers. Let's start, our rituals. We had multiple different races there, multiple different religions. So we had 10 people standing there just kind of praying in different ways. But here's the catch. One of our friends, let's say Ben decided that he wasn't buying any of this. He didn't care about what was going to happen. He wasn't scared. He was this macho guy, right? And I think he had a little crush on somebody in the group. So what he decided to do was, we were all praying at the bus stop, directly opposite these flats. He went to the edge of the bus stop and yelled out, in a loud voice, hey, I'm not scared of you. Don't mess with us. We're coming in. And when we were like, hey, Ben, chill man, don't do anything stupid. He looked at us and he just shrugged it off. You guys are just cowards, man, come on. There's nothing here. Even if there were, they're not gonna do anything to us, right? They're weak. Oh, that was something that he would regret later on. So, we got our prayers and off we went. We kind of paired together. Now, Jane seemed to have the third eye, according to her, according to the rest of the friends. She could see stuff, and I was, let's just say, the person they counted on in this kind of things. So they paired me and Jane up. We walked together. We had like a little formation going on. We were kids, right? We just wanted to have fun. A little military formation where there were 4 in front, 2 at the sides, either side, and some at the back. And me and Jane were walking in the center, next to each other. Now, before we continue, let me explain a little bit about how my relationship with Jane is. This will prove important later. Now, Jane and I are friends. By all means, we're good friends, close. We have a little family thing with other friends going on. She's in the friend's family, so to speak, my niece. So we're pretty on good terms. But remember, this is something important about Jane. She is not comfortable with physical contact. We do not hug, even for greetings. We don't even really shake hands, right? And we keep quite a distance from each other. So we were walking next to each other, just kind of just chatting, looking around. The HDBs were abandoned. The walls were stained, cracked up. Interestingly enough, though, the gates that were blocking these stairs were quite fresh, quite new for some reason. So I have no idea. Maybe they're trying to bring it down soon. They're trying to avoid people from going up. Maybe there's been too many cases of people trying to access these buildings. So we couldn't really go up or anything. So we were just kind of walking around. And now this is when Ben and a couple of his friends started monkeying around, right? Because we went in, we didn't see much. So they started trying to bang on the gates, right? Cause a ruckus. Shouting obscenities, challenging whatever was there to come out and get them. They were swinging on the goddamn poles, come on man. It was just stupid, honestly. Suddenly, I feel a grip on my hand, on my arm. And I look to my left, where Jane was. With her hair covering her face, she wasn't facing me or anything, but she grabbed onto my arm. Now at the time, I didn't find that weird. I just thought, maybe she's scared. Maybe she's worried. I don't know. I didn't really think much of it. So we continued walking around. We turned the corner and went over to the next flat. Now, at this point, Jane started giggling. For some odd reason. Nobody else could hear it, just me. I was right next to her, and she still had this grip on my arm. I looked at her and I was a bit worried, so I called, Jane, you good? She did not respond. I called for her again, and this time I started to notice something wrong. Now, at this point, I'm not afraid to say, I panicked a little bit. I tried to yank my arm away from her, but for the life of me, I could not budge at all. Not even an inch. I called for my friend to stop. Something is wrong. We're in trouble. I kept trying to pull away. Nothing happened. And when finally everybody gathered around, Jane looked up. She had a grin from ear to ear, just staring wide-eyed, unblinking at us. All the while, giggling softly. Now, you might think maybe she's a clown, jokester, jester. No, she's quite a serious person. She doesn't joke around. She's not, the group clown or the class clown or nothing. No. There she was, just standing there in the dark, rather dimly lit area, just staring. Not particularly at anyone, not even at me, even though I'm trying to pull my arm away. No. Stares forward, giggling. And then she started breaking out into a hysterical laughter. It was high-pitched, craze. We had no idea what to do. There was a muscle man in our group, Daniel. He managed to help me get her hand off me. But this is where it got worse. She started screaming at us. Growling, screaming, clawing. And at this point, everybody was obviously freaked out. We've had formed a circle by that point around her. And she started lashing, swinging at us. Daniel, who I assume in a fit of panic or just actually being scared, he tried to, let's just say, intimidate whatever was, within her. Whatever had apparently possessed Jane. He walked up in his, I would say, manliest voice, I don't know, shouted at her, "Hey, that's enough. Stop joking around." She stopped for a while and we thought, hey, maybe she's playing a prank. But no. She turned slowly towards his direction and full-on charged towards the guy. Quite literally leaping onto him. Now, at this point, everyone was panicked. He was trying to hold her off and he seemed to be losing. Mind you, this guy is quite a unit. He's built quite like a unit. I stepped in, I pulled it off, and couldn't figure out what was going on, right? It hadn't clicked for some reason. When you think back on it, it's quite obvious, but at that point of time, it did not click to me that something was in her. She started clawing at me, scratching. I tried to hoist her over my shoulders, and she basically scratched out the back of my ears. I started bleeding. When I tried to hold her in a bridal carry, she arced her back up. I almost lost grip of her. But eventually, we managed to bring her out. We managed to just force her out. I lifted her over my shoulder. She was kicking, screaming. We got back to the original bus stop. That was when we saw a sort of racial harmony. We saw 4 different religions praying over her, trying to get her to safety. All the while we were trying to drag her away from the flats. Now, the interesting thing here, or the funny thing here, is that Ben, who you guys remember that I said started bad-mouthing the spirits there, was on the knees by the roadside begging for forgiveness because he realized he really messed up. We brought a few blocks away, and for some reason, her eyes kept rolling back to the direction of the flats. Now, you might think maybe if she's acting, she would know which direction, but no, we took many twists and turns, and most of the time she was unconscious on our backs. But eventually, around I would say 5 to 6 a.m., we got her out of the area completely, and she just passed out. About an hour later, she came to, and we brought her to a temple. Well, I didn't really go in, but as far as my friends said, they performed a sort of ritual on her. Now, here's the creepy part. We went over to breakfast after that, and she told us what had happened just before she blacked out. Apparently, she saw somebody on the top floor of the stairwell. Now, the building was structured in a way that the staircase is visible from the outside. It's on the extreme left and right of the buildings. So you could kind of see the stairs leading all the way up, and whoever's in there. So she said that apparently, as we were going in, as Ben finished his last, rude remark, she saw a guy just standing there. She couldn't really make out the details because it's, quite far, but it was on the top floor. And he was just, in her words, staring menacingly at us. I mean, I don't know how she could have seen the facial features, but she says menacing, so let's just take it as that. And then she heard a boom in her voice, in her head, a booming voice. In Chinese, I believe. You messed with us, your friend disrespected us, now we're going to teach you a lesson. And that's the last thing she remembered before she blacked out. This was about halfway in. Upon hearing that, all my friends went pale. Ben, if there were a color or a term for something more pale than pale, he was definitely that. He, eyes agape, mouth and the lips pressing against each other. He couldn't speak for a couple of minutes. But anyway, we managed to get her done and done. But the funny thing is, even though that breakfast, she seemed fine, okay? I didn't see her for a couple of weeks. And she was normal for a while, but you could tell something had changed inside her. She became more withdrawn. She became quiet, just not as outgoing as she used to be for a good period of time. So, but after a while, she got better. She ended up hanging out with us more and all that. But guys, spooky things happen to those that do not respect what they should respect. And take it from me, do not mess with things that you should not mess with. This is Big Kong, and I'll see you next time.